Hi class, thanks for watching my video this week of the discussion board. Um, the discussion board prompt had a couple of questions in it. The first of being, over the last 20 years there have been some advances in aviation, and how does that affect the tactile union with the aircraft? Um, there's actually two ways that you could approach this with thought. As far as tactile goes in the physical sense, the touch, then that would be that I would reference the textbook and how it says that when you're dealing with certain fly-by-wire aircraft, when one stick moves, it doesn't provide feedback for the other side, or or even if there's control pressure, it may not have that pressure related to the control stick or the control wheel or whatever. And I think that as far as that specific instance goes, it removes the tactile connection that you have with a plane. You know, if you take off in a 172 or similar trainer type aircraft, you pull back, you can feel that air moving over the elevator. When the person in the other seat moves the control wheel, you can feel it also, or it yanks it out of your hand or whatever. But with the fly-by-wire, with not having that feedback, um, you can end up with canceling inputs. The pilot pilot flying, or the captain or whatever, is putting forward in, and the pilot monitoring freaks out and pulls back, and it's two canceling inputs, and it just doesn't do anything. Um, and nobody would know that it was happening unless you just happen to look over and see it. Um, Another thing that I think is an approach to this is although it's not a physical sense of connection with the airplane as far as tactile connection goes, I believe that um, the glass panels of current age do have the potential to provide more situational awareness. I say the potential for it because it does have information in a way that is graphic and visually pleasing. So if you've got practice in it and you understand what that information is telling you, it can give you a better situational awareness picture. Um, but the other side of that same coin is, if it's too much information, it might be a distraction. Uh, Something that I feel like, the other part of the prompt is, improvements to glass. My only experience with flying glass is in a G1000, and it has the different warnings, cautions, and alerts. So warnings are flashed on screen, has a bright red flashing at you, hey, 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 and then it has an auditory alarm, ding, 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 and then it tells you what's wrong. It does the same thing with the caution, except it's yellow. If you have an alert, it's buried in a submenu that says alerts. Now the alerts button does flash, and when you click on it, it gives you the alert. Some of the alerts truly are that. It's not a problem now, but it could become a problem later. And uh, I feel like I think that could hide a problem. I think that could lead to some sort of automation surprise that can have really disastrous outcomes. Specifically referencing the American Eagle Flight 3008 from the textbook, where they had asymmetrical icing. The autopilot was gently correcting for the ice accumulation until it hit the full deflection limits, and then the autopilot disengaged, which reset the control surfaces and then threw the aircraft into a real crazy roll, upset attitude and recovery. Thankfully, they were able to recover and land it at their destination airport. But I think that having a situation like that, and the book makes reference of maybe putting a system in place that, hey, this is getting to a point where it's about to become a big problem, getting some sort of auditory alarm or visual alarm or both, that brings the pilot, either the pilot flying or the pilot monitoring or both, brings their attention to that issue, when it's an issue, not an emergency. I think that would be a really good thing to do. And I think that something in the G1000 with those alerts, the other day I was flying, and to start it, our school has schedulers built in. So every 10 minutes, the alert light flashes and says, "Hey, change tanks," which is great because you definitely want to keep the airplane within balance around the roll axis. Um, but occasionally, when you're flying and you become task saturated, you defer that. But luckily, it continues to blink, and so that's one of those things that it does remind you, "Hey, I haven't been dealt with. Come fix this." So that is something to help you to remember, and um, that. But at the same time, because it happens so frequently, it kind of desensitizes the pilot's mind to the other aspects that fall under that exact same category. So it pops up as an alert to change fuel tanks. But the other day we had a PFD fan fail, and it pops up as an alert, not a caution or a warning. And that's appropriate. But because it was desensitized, the pilot flying is task saturated, doesn't get to it right away. And then about 5 to 8 minutes later, and it's, 35 Celsius outside, right around 100 Fahrenheit, and push that button and it says PFD fan fail. And so now at this point, I'm thinking, well, it's just a matter of minutes now before the PFD overheats, fails, and then we have to go to reversionary mode to get this airplane on the ground safely. And I feel like if it's something like that, that it should have more of an auditory alarm. So I feel like maybe don't incorporate the time scheduler in the alert category. Maybe have that in its own function that doesn't come up as an alert. I think that would be a good improvement, and I would think that would increase the safety of flight. So I look forward to getting the feedback from you all and seeing what you all have written about this. Um, like I said, I look forward to it. So have a good day. Bye.